Ever pulled up a tomato plant in the fall with barely a couple of sorry little tomatoes on it, green and small, while your neighbor's, the same variety, was breaking under the load? The difference isn't the seed and it isn't luck. I'll walk you through it step by step. How to grow tomatoes right anywhere, home, on a windowsill or a small patch of ground. And at the end I'll show you what the pros do at planting time to double the harvest, all with no chemicals. I'm Amos Reel, an Amish farmer from Ohio. Let's begin. Step 1. We'll start from the same base as in the cucumber video. For tomatoes, it works just the same. Drop your seeds in a glass of salted water. Whatever floats, throw out. Plant only the ones that sank. Soak the keepers overnight, then wrap them in a damp cloth and keep them somewhere warm until a little root pokes through and a live seed goes into the ground. Plant it gently, keep the ball of soil around it, don't disturb the roots. That's the shared foundation and half your harvest rests on it. But from here the tomato has its own quirks, its own light, its own watering, its own planting. That's where we're headed. And we'll start with the choice, which tomato to get for your spot. Step 2, the choice where a lot of people turn the wrong way. Tomatoes come in two kinds, and it decides everything. Some are low and bushy, others tall up to the ceiling. The bush kind, on the packet it's called Determinate, grows to its set size, gives its whole crop at once, and that's it. That's the one you want on a windowsill, on a balcony, on a tight little patch of ground. The tall kind, Indeterminate, climbs all summer and pours out tomatoes till the cold, but it demands room and support. That one's for a real garden bed. And for a window, look for the dwarf, Patio varieties. A plant knee-high but covered in tomatoes. In my young days, I stuck a tall one on the windowsill. It hit the window frame, and not much came of it. Pick your kind to fit your spot, and count it as already laying the groundwork for that double harvest I'll tell you about at the end. Step 3. And here's where the main trouble with the indoor tomato hides. Light. A tomato is a fierce sun lover. Half shade won't do for it. On a dark window, the seedling stretches into a pale thread, flops over, and later barely fruits. So at home, set it on your brightest, most southern window, and if there's next to no sun in the place, hang up a cheap grow light. I keep all my seedlings under one myself. Costs pennies, and the difference is night and day. Outdoors, the rule is simple. A tomato wants sun from morning to evening. Don't tuck it in the shade of a fence or under an apple tree. It'll waste away there. Give a tomato all the light it wants from day one, and the plant comes up stocky and full, ready to carry a crop. Step 4. Timing. And here the tomato has one golden rule. You don't sow it straight into the bed, like radishes or carrots. A tomato is always raised at home first as a seedling in a cup, and only then is the grown little plant moved to its permanent place. The only question is when to sow for that seedling. Here's how you figure it. Find out when the spring frosts usually end in your area, and count back 6 to 8 weeks. That's your sowing day. From there, home and garden split. If the tomato is going to live at home, under a light on the window, sow whenever you like, even in January. You make your own weather. But if you're growing it for outdoors, you keep the seedling at home, and you move the little plant out to the bed only once the frosts are gone and the nights have turned warm. That's what I do. I sow at home early and carry a grown, hardened plant out into the open ground. Start a month and a half ahead of time, and you'll pick your first red tomatoes while your neighbor is still waiting on green ones. But that head start is easy to lose over a single watering mistake. And that's where we go next. Step 5, a rule worth its weight in gold, and you need it both at home and in the bed. Have you seen how over 2 damp days a strong green plant suddenly blackens, breaks out in brown blotches and hangs there like a wet rag? That's blight, the tomato plague. And most often you call it in yourself by watering over the leaves. So burn this into memory. Water a tomato, only at the root, never from above. I pour warm water right at the stem and in the morning so the ground isn't sitting wet by night. Keep the leaf dry and the root watered, and you'll spare the plant that black ruin. And a well-watered root will come in handy at the end. The whole trick there is in the roots. Step 6, about feeding. And here a trap is buried, one people fall into with the best of intentions. I know, it seems like the richer the soil, the thicker the crop, pile on the manure. But pay attention here, with the tomato, it's the other way around. Into the hole at planting, I put a handful of rotted compost, and that's enough. Overfeed with fresh manure or too much green plant feed, and the plant goes to fat, throws up a mighty bush, leaves the size of your palm, and hardly sets a tomato. It'll grow you a jungle instead of a harvest. So give it a full belly in moderation at the start, and once the blooms come, switch its foot. Sprinkle a handful of wood ash under the plant. Ash drives the strength not into leaf, but into fruit. At home in a pot and out in the garden, the rule is one. Don't stuff a tomato with foliage. Steer its strength into bloom and fruit, and how to turn that bloom into actual tomatoes. That's where the next trap waits. Step 7. And here's a trick that'll make your eyes pop. At home, your tomato blooms, but there are no tomatoes. The flower's yellow and drop. Why? To set fruit, a tomato needs its flower shaken to knock the pollen loose. Outdoors, the wind does it, or a bumblebee, which vibrates its whole body on the flower. But on a windowsill, it's dead calm, no wind and no bee. So nothing sets, and the plant blooms for nothing till the cold. The fix takes a second. Every couple of days, be the bumblebee yourself. Flick the flowering cluster or give the plant a shake. At home, I tap along the clusters like that every other day, and the fruit sets just fine. Outdoors, the wind does the work for you, so don't give it a thought. And the second thing, for those with a tall kind, tie it to a stake and break off the suckers, the extra shoots that come out of the leaf joints, so the plant doesn't scatter itself, but throws everything into fruit. The low bush kind, leave it alone, it doesn't need this. Well, everything up to now has just been the run-up. And now for the thing that matters more than all the rest put together. A reward for whoever sat through to the end. That very trick the pros use to double their tomato harvest, and one hardly anybody says out loud. And it takes 1 minute at the moment of planting. Look, most people plant the seedling at the same depth it was growing in the cup, but you do it differently. Strip off the lower leaves and bury the stem deep, the 2/3 of it, so only the top sticks out above the ground. It seems like you're crippling the plant, but here's what happens. That whole stretch of stem that went into the ground grows roots along its entire length in a couple of weeks. And where most folks have one thin little root, you've got a whole beard of roots twice as thick. And twice the roots means twice the water and food to the fruit. And you get a crop shallow planting just won't give. And this works anywhere. On your own patch of ground, just dig the hole deeper and plant it up to the top. At home, in a pot, take a taller container and sink the stem the same way. The roots will lace through the whole thing. And if the seedling has stretched, grown too leggy, that's not a problem, it's a gift. Lay its long stem down on its side, in a pot or in a furrow, cover it with soil, leave the top out, and it'll root along its whole length. And there's the whole secret, with no chemicals. Don't plant a tomato shallow, bury it deep, and one plant of yours gives the harvest of 2, on a bed or on a windowsill. So what tomato troubles are you dealing with? Write them in the comments. I answer everyone. Hit like and subscribe.